Hello everyone and welcome to our video series on Learn German Grammar. In this video, we will be dealing with two questions, wo and wohin. We will be learning what prepositions to use in which cases. This topic is divided in two parts and this is the first part. Let's begin. Wo oder wohin? Teil 1. It's very important to understand the two questions. Wo, Position. When you ask this question, it will be always answered by telling you the position of a person or a thing. Whereas the next question, that is, wohin? Aktion. This will always tell you about an action, about a change in the position from one point to the other. For example, the question Wo bist du will always tell you where the person is, whereas the question Wohin gehst du will tell you where the person is going to. In the first part, we'll be doing Präpositionen mit Stadt, Land ohne Artikel und Land mit Artikel. We'll be doing Gebäude. You'll be seeing some examples to know when to use which preposition. So, let's move on. Here comes the first one. Stadt. One thing to remember here is the names of cities in German don't have articles. So here's the first one. Wo bist du? Do remember that the question with wo talks about the position. So the answer in this case would be Ich bin in Berlin. So whenever you are using a city and the question is wo, you would say in Berlin, in New York, etc. When the question changes to Wohin gehst du, you should remember that we are talking of an action, movement from one place to the other. In this case, you would say Ich fahre nach Berlin. So, with cities, you would use nach Berlin, nach Frankfurt, nach New York, etc. The next one is Land ohne Artikel. Well, some countries have articles and some don't. You can go through our video on countries and languages to revise these countries. The link is given below in the description. Wo bist du? In this case, when you're in a country, you would say Ich bin in Deutschland. So, just like we used for cities, we would use for countries without article with the question wo, the preposition in Deutschland, in Kanada, in Frankreich, etc. And when we talk of change in position, wohin gehst du? And in this case we have a country without article, you would say Ich fahre nach Deutschland. So for countries without article, you would use the preposition nach. nach Deutschland, nach Kanada, nach Frankreich, etc. Moving on to Land mit Artikel. For example, die Schweiz. Wo bist du? Now in this case, since Schweiz has an article, we would say Ich bin in der Schweiz. So whenever a country has an article die with the question wo, you would say in der. For example, in der Schweiz, in der Türkei. And if they have different articles, you would say im Iran. Im comes from in plus dem. And if it's a plural die, you would say in den USA. In this case, the preposition in will take the dative article. If you want to revise dative article, you can watch our video on the same. The link is given below. Let's see what happens with the question Wohin gehst du? Ich fahre in die Schweiz. Let's see what happens with countries with different articles. You would say in die Türkei, in den Iran, in die USA. Well, as you can see, the preposition in takes the accusative article with the question wohin. If you want to revise the accusative article, you can watch our video on the same. The link is given below. Let's move on to the next case. Gebäude. This means building. It could be any kind of a building. It could be an apartment, it could be a house, it could be a bank, etc. And they all have different articles. Don't get panicky. With time, you will learn what preposition to use where. Let's do a few examples. Wo bist du? Ich bin im Büro. We just learned that in plus dem becomes im. Since the preposition in takes the dative article, let's see what happens when the article is die in singular or when the article is der or das. You would say in der Bank when the article is die. And for der and das, you would say im Supermarkt or im Büro. Wohin gehst du? In this case, there is a change of position. That means there is an action. The answer would be Ich gehe ins Büro. In this case, in plus das change to ins. For some buildings, you don't always use in. For example, here you would say Ich gehe zur Bank. Here the preposition zu will take dative article because it's a dative preposition. If you want to revise prepositions in dative, you can watch our video on the same. The link is given below. So, zu plus der will change to zur. In this case, you can also use the preposition in and say, ich gehe in die Bank. It's not wrong, but you will mostly get a feeling and you will have to understand the context where to use the preposition zu and where to use the preposition in. Let's try to understand this once again. With the question wohin, the preposition in is used when you are going inside a building. In takes the accusative article. So you would say in die Bank. With the article der, you would say in den Supermarkt. And if the article is das, in changes to ins. That means you would say ins Büro. The preposition zu is used when you're talking about going there. Do remember that zu takes the dative article. In this case, you would say zur Bank, zum Supermarkt, or zum Büro. I would like to give you a tip here. Make a list of various buildings, write their articles, and then write down their prepositions with wo and wohin. Go through the list once or twice or maybe thrice or maybe more. And soon you'll remember when to use which preposition. And there is one exception in your list. Wo bist du? Ich bin zu Hause. Yes, Hause is an exception for both the questions. So when the question is wohin gehst du? You would say ich gehe nach Hause. Just learn them. Well done. In the second part, we will be doing Präpositionen mit Berg oder Insel, See, Fluss, Meer, Strand, Straße, Platz, Person und Veranstaltung oder Aktivität. Do check out the video. Hope you enjoyed this video and learned something. Danke! Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them in the comment section below. Tschüss, auf Wiedersehen!